Hey everyone, and welcome to Morning Tea with me, Tracy V. Allen. Morning Tea is about giving you motivation, inspiration, and education so you can start your day off right. And this morning I have with me Sabrina Noble. And Sabrina is a police officer, a veteran, and a financial educator. And she's here today to just give us some insight into why she chose these career paths and how it led up to her entrepreneurship journey. So Sabrina, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me on your show. My name's Sabrina Noble. I was born in Detroit, raised in Houston, Texas, and I am a graduate of high school for law enforcement and criminal justice. I I think I knew early that I was different, so I always chose a different path. When all my friends were going to, I guess, the neighborhood high school, I chose to be bused and go way across town. And so I went to law enforcement. I guess I was interested in law enforcement at an early age. I joined the military, the Army, at age 17, because the recruiters came to our school and told us that they would help pay for college. And I was like, "That what? They'll help pay for college?" And so I go home and tell my mom I wanted to join, and she says, "Are you sure?" So she signed the dotted line. And I ended up being deployed to Saudi Arabia. I think I had my 20th birthday there. Um,
Wow.
I had started college by then. So I think I was I was in my sophomore year. Graduated college. Again, I always was different. So I chose my internship with Georgia Bureau of Investigations. A lot of people would work at the prisons because we were in a prison town. Our college was, the local the police department I work for now was one that people always chose. And so I wanted to do something different. So I wrote a letter, introduced myself, told them how they could help me graduate and what that would mean to me. And they said, "Yeah, come on." So I had an aunt there, and I went for the summer and got my last, I think, 9 credits.
Okay.
So I ended up graduating, still being in the reserves for another few years. I think total 8 years.
Mhm.
Joined the police department. I left out. I was a postal worker too for a minute.
Oh wow.
Before police department.
Mhm.
Um, I worked in the police department. I've been there 25 years. I've had several positions where I patrolled, community service, where I taught crime prevention,
Mhm.
um, civic clubs, schools, youth. We just told people how to be safe and educated them on how to interact with us. And since then, I went on to be in a training division where we monitor recruits' field training progress. From there, I went to CID, Criminal Intelligence Division, where I wrote emergency response plans for the police department. And then went to hate crime squad.
Mhm.
And then I spent I spent 3 years in recruiting, and now I'm in technology services. So as you can see, being in law enforcement, there are so many different jobs you can have within the police department.
I
Um,
didn't even know all those jobs existed.
right,
So yeah.
that's just a handful.
Mhm.
So in my current role, we review the body cam footage from the officers, and we build the cases for the DA and then ship those over. Um,
Okay.
so it's an interesting job. I have to say that it has afforded me a really great career where I've learned a lot. I've met a lot of people. Um, and just learned all about myself as well. And I think it helped me to be more compassionate towards people.
Mhm.
I learned pretty early that it wasn't our job just to be out there to police. We were there to help people. So it wasn't our job to go out and arrest people per se, but to help people in whatever that may have been. So sometimes they don't call us at their best, but we hopefully we can help them to straighten out the situation.
Okay. And So I have a few things I want to piggyback on that you talked about. So first of all, let's acknowledge the fact that you do have on your uniform currently in this interview, and you were telling me earlier that you were activated back into active duty because of what's going on currently.
Well, so I'm active duty, so I'm typically an 8-hour shift Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. During the protests and demonstrations, the whole department has been mobilized to 12-hour shifts.
Okay, got it.
Yes, all uniform officers are on 12-hour shifts. And so that's what I mean by being activated.
Good. Okay. You also talked about learning early on that the police were there to protect and serve. And we all know that's what the police department is there for. But right now, a lot of people in the country don't feel like the police is there to protect and serve. And I've had incidents. I remember years ago, I had an incident with my son's father. And my son is 25, so this is like many years ago, right? I was probably 140 pounds soaking wet at the time. Not 140 pounds anymore, but then, right? So I was probably like a size 6, 8, and I had just had my son. And we had an altercation, and the police department had to be called because I was afraid that he was going to try to harm me, right? Further harm me. And I remember the police officer coming in and he took a look at me. I'm like 5'7", right? And he was like, "Oh, you didn't need to call us. You could handle this yourself. You're a big girl."
Wow.
I did not feel very safe at that point in time. I actually left the state because I felt so unsafe.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah. So I understand when people say that they feel like the police department isn't there. And that doesn't mean I don't have a problem with police officers in general, because I know one isolated incident. I'm smart enough to know that one isolated incident does not speak for everybody, And I think that's the same type of thing that is going on in our community right now, where one person may have a bad experience with a white person or a black person, and they take that and they spread it through the entire population, and then it festers into hate. And this is where racism comes from. That's kind of my whole take on it. What do you think?
So you're right. There are probably a few bad apples, but if you've ever heard the term, the squeaky wheel gets the grease,
Yes.
The bad apples make everybody look bad. The loudest one gets all the attention. So that's what tends to happen. And then when you have people just stand by and not stand up for what's right, then that just makes it worse.
Right.
I think that throughout not just throughout the country, but the world, this is going on. And I feel like people have had enough.
Yes.
You have so many of us officers, we are flabbergasted that, these things are happening. Nobody feel unsafe in their homes, especially be scared that the police are going to come in and hurt you. So these things that have happened are very it's crazy. I can even imagine to have a son. I have 2 daughters, but I imagine if I had sons, how I'd be feeling at this point.
Anxiety.
So it's crazy. One thing I do tell people though, I hear so many people complain and say, "I don't want to be the police. I don't even like police." Some of my closest friends say, "I don't like police except you." But I would say is, how can you be a part of change if you're on the outside looking in? You can't do anything on the outside. And coming from recruiting, I can tell you that we are not applying as much as everybody else is.
Well, I can be honest on my end. My son is a Marine, and the police department has tried to recruit him on several occasions, and I'm like, no.
And see,
yeah. So I'm just piggybacking on what you say. I was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea.
And see, you're saying that, and I think it was my father who was saying that he probably was the one breaking down when I enlisted in the military and was deployed to Saudi. But both of my parents were actually in military though. He was
okay.
Marine and Army, and in the Navy. And
Okay.
I think it tore him up to say, what, my daughter, she's going to Saudi? Oh, no. But it was natural for me. I don't know. I've always just leaned towards structure, uniform, pretty much my whole life, I think.
Yeah. Some people are like that. They just like that order that comes along with things that are military or like, protect and serve, like the police department or corrections or, that type of stuff. Fire, anything that has to do with the uniform and has a specific structure. Some people just gravitate to that. And that tells a lot about your characteristic. If you're someone who likes law and order, then you are very structured. And I expect that, you operate the same way in your life.
Right.
So yeah, I can see that. But what would you say if your kids wanted to become police officers or going to the military? Would you be okay with that?
If it was their choice, definitely. I would definitely give them more pointers than I got. I think going in, I really didn't know much, and then my mom, I don't, for some reason, I don't remember her trying to lead me any particular
She
direction.
just let you do what you wanted to do.
Yeah, because I was the one who said, okay, I want to go to this middle school and it's way across town. I think in the military, she's like, you sure? Okay, I'm going to sign. So, and I was kind of different because like I said, I saw things and I didn't see any boundaries, for the most part. And, but if they wanted to be in law enforcement or the military, I would stand in their way. I think it's a good thing.
Okay. So with all the structure in your life, the military and all these jobs you've held in the police department, right? How did you or why did you decide to transition into entrepreneurship as a part-time hustle?
Oh my goodness, I'm glad you asked. So, I just made 25 years. April 10th was the day I started the academy. And I have been trying to understand more about financial literacy, money, just pretty much my whole adult life. And so I happened to run into my now business partner. She had a booth set up at a Black Expo. And she asked me, hey, would you like to know more about money, financial literacy? Do you think you know all you need to know? And I was like, actually, I would. And so I finally sat down with her. And for one thing, she kind of plugged the holes. Like there were certain things I understood because I was pretty conservative. I had a nice little foundation, but I still knew there was some more stuff I needed to know. So when we sat down, she kind of introduced some basic principles and concepts to me. And I said, oh, okay. And she showed me how to understand money, how it works, and how to make it work better for me. Protect
And
myself.
that's why this is called Put Your Money to Work. Yeah.
How to protect myself, my family, the property I've accumulated, whatever. And understand that we have options. And that's what I realized, that a lot of people don't make good decisions because they don't know all the options they have.
Right.
And so I've had that entrepreneurial spirit for quite a while and didn't quite know where it came from. And really was younger, didn't really even know how to tap into it. And so my journey has been one that has been slow and steady. But when I look back, I'm like, man, I did all that. And didn't even realize I was setting a solid foundation. But then when I was introduced to what I do now, introducing financial literacy to others and helping them to protect themselves, I was like, oh, this is great, and more of us need to understand it. And so that's why I just have become so passionate about it, because I know that with all this other unrest that is happening across the country and across the world, finances is a big part of that. If you understand your money and can make your money work better for you, some other things do not
affect you as much.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So In your work as a financial literacy educator, what have you found to be the major gaps in people's finances, whether they be Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter?
Lack of planning.
Lack of planning.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say lack of planning, do you mean like putting a nest egg aside, saving money, or, you know, breaking your money up into percentages so that some goes for this? And
I you know what, I actually should say lack of education.
lack of education. Okay.
Because if when people understand financial literacy or have financial literacy, you make different decisions. And
Okay.
when you know the different options, you can make better choices. And
Mm-hmm.
and if we have financial literacy early, the earlier we start, the um the the smaller the amount that it takes to actually to create a bigger nest egg later. And see, what a lot of us end up doing is starting so late that we need more money. When we're
Yeah.
younger, less money because we have plenty of time. But
Mm-hmm.
older, we have so little time and we need more money
Mm-hmm.
to accomplish our goals. And so with what I'm seeing is with so many companies not offering pensions or retirements, a lot of people are going to be hurting and don't even
Yeah.
just how much.
I'm so happy that you touched on that,
Mhm.
because I was just having a conversation with some entrepreneurs today. And one of the things that always baffles me, and I teach a class pretty often on planning for the future as an entrepreneur. And one of the things I talk about all the time in that class is retirement. I said most entrepreneurs start their entrepreneurship journey, but they never think about the end.
Yes.
You know, in most things that we do in life, we look at the end outcome and then we work backwards to the beginning. But most entrepreneurs they just jump in, and it's okay to jump into certain things, but what is the end goal of you becoming an entrepreneur? Are you going to work until the day you die? I don't think so. Because if you were working a regular 9 to 5 job, you'd be like, what time is it? It's time for me to leave. When am I retiring? You know, everybody looks at that. You get a job, the first thing that you look at is the benefit packages.
Exactly.
What benefits am I going to get from this job? But then you become an entrepreneur, and it's like you forgot that there were benefits to be had from working a job, and you are now your employer. So why aren't you giving yourself the same benefits that you would expect an outside employer to give you? I know that I want to retire, so you have to plan.
Exactly. And to touch on what you said, we in one of our workshops we say pay yourself first, the first hour of every day. Pay
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Don't forget to pay yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So putting that nest egg aside is important, and there's so many ways that you can do it. Do you want to discuss some of the ways that you can save for retirement?
Yes, I definitely. So we in our workshops, we actually have 5 different workshops,
Mhm.
or 6 now.
What is
Um,
the name of your company? Because we never said.
it's World Financial Group.
Okay.
This is a brochure, and
Okay.
we
And here's the website.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
um and so we educate people first. The first thing we do is invite people to become educated. So we have increasing cash flow, um,
Mm-hmm.
debt management, building strong financial foundation, proper protection, building wealth, retirement, and wealth preservation.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we do is just show some simple concepts, simple principles that if you follow these principles, you can get ahead. We show people the rule of 72. A lot of people don't even understand what that is. And basically, I'll tell you, it works against you with your credit cards, your creditors, but
Mm-hmm.
we show you how to make interest work for you with your money. And so
Mm-hmm.
those are just a couple of the concepts we show people. We show people about the X curve. When you're younger and you have more responsibilities, your money is not as stable and you're not so secure until you're debt goes down and your responsibilities are lessened. Maybe the kids are gone, you've paid for college, and now you're able to have more of your money, or to hold on to more of your money. But at the same time, you have responsibilities. We show you how to put some aside so that you're building wealth while you're decreasing your debt. And
Okay.
and so the information is free. We
Mhm.
offer webinars every week, workshops every week. We just invite people to come on. And now that we've been going through this COVID, it seems like we have more people attending the virtual meetings than we did to come into our financial
And
center.
so many people are realizing that now that they've been forced to move online, that their numbers are increasing in attendance for various things, because you don't have to go anywhere. You can listen in your car, you could listen while you're laying in your bed, you don't have to physically get up and get in your car and drive somewhere. So I think too, one of the things that probably is driving a lot more people to come to your meetings is that a lot of people are now realizing that having one source of income is just not going to cut it, you know?
Yes. And that leads me to the opportunity.
Mhm.
So I have been in this, I started doing this, I was introduced rather in August.
Okay.
And I'll tell you just how impactful that information was. The day that I actually met with my business partner now um, was the same day that I got the phone call that my dad was transitioning.
Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you. So we talked a little bit, and I was like, okay, I want to be a part of this campaign. And actually, our campaign is a campaign for financial literacy.
Hmm.
We just had a huge virtual conference this weekend.
Hmm.
Over almost 200,000 people, 180
Wow.
people on the convention. And our goal for 2020 was to educate 1 million families, and we're pretty close. And so now our next goal is to educate 30 million families by the year of 2030. The first thing, like I said, we start with the education. We get to know our clients, and we see what their goals are, and we help achieve them. The opportunity is that's what I was getting to. So I started. I met her August 7th or 9th. I
Hmm.
got my license, general life and health license, by September 20th.
Hmm.
We have offices in all 50 states and Canada. Um, we have a onboarding process where we show you how to become licensed to help other people, and it was just that simple. And I've hit the ground running and have been helping people ever since.
Great. And you mentioned two things that I want to talk about. So you talked about debt, how to manage debt. Do you guys do credit repair services for people, or is that not part of the offering?
And it's funny you asked that, because we actually have partner. I was on the one of our conference calls, and we were talking to uh, is one national name we always hear, dead. They always help you with the IRS, but they partner with us to help people to
Mhm.
manage their debt or to pay it off or to get out of it. And I can't think, the name escapes me right now, but they partner with us because they want to help people to get to a healthy financial situation. And like he said, that if they cannot, if it is not cost effective, or they're not going to save you that much money to come through them, they'll tell you.
Mhm.
But they'll set the plan in motion, show you what to do, and they don't charge up front. They help you to eliminate your debt, and the fee is like a percentage of whatever it is that they get, the debt they help you to eliminate. um
And then the second thing I wanted to ask you about was the life insurance. You said you were licensed as a life insurance agent. How are you finding people are receiving um, that particular product?
so we are brokers. Our company is a broker. We're all independent contractors. we
Right.
write we write for over 90 different companies. We have
Mhm.
products.
No,
Transamerica.
but I mean, like when you go to try to sell life insurance to people, how are they receiving it? As do they see the necessity for it, or do they think it's a waste of money? Because I know quite a few people in the industry, and I know it's very hard to get people to understand why it is essential. I had someone on here before, and we were talking about the fact that, we're tired of seeing all these GoFundMe pages when people pass away because no one has life insurance to bury their family members, and it's just a travesty. And if people understood the importance of life insurance more and how it works, then maybe more people would get it, and it's a way to build legacies.
Okay, so when we ask people to become educated, when
Mhm,
they actually take our workshops, which are free of cost, if
mhm,
workshops and they understand, then they're more likely to understand the need.
okay.
So we don't just do life insurance, we do retirement planning, annuities, rollovers, long-term care.
The
Um,
whole gamut.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like we offer services that can help a family from birth to death. So
Okay.
protect your children as well as plan for your final expenses.
Okay. What are the biggest hurdles that you found since becoming an entrepreneur? What were the difficulties you had with navigating the entrepreneurial space, or did you just jump in and it's been perfect since?
Um, so I'll say with this particular venture, it is challenging just because we as a community don't necessarily understand and value insurance. And so because to do this, you have to have a passion for it to just help. And so I guess the hurdle is just trying to break through. But when we get to know our clients, so the first thing we do is a personal financial analysis, which
Mhm,
bigger make charged. We don't do that.
mhm.
And so that's the first thing we do so that our client has a clear picture of where they are and we have a clear picture. So we're not just walking in the door selling them something. We
Mhm.
tailor make a plan for them that's affordable and makes sense. So we're not just bound by just one company to say, oh, we have to sell this company's product. So that's why we can take our time and actually get to know our clients. And like I say, if they take the time to attend our workshop,
Mhm.
um, they learn concepts that they didn't know or understand, and then they're
Right.
like, well, okay. So
So that's the one thing that you're finding to be most difficult, is getting people to understand the importance behind um, getting life insurance and getting their finances in place.
um not so much okay, maybe understanding, because I think a lot of people understand they need it, but
Mhm.
at a priority.
Making it a priority. Got you.
Mhm.
All right. So if you had to leave the audience with three takeaways right now, what would those three takeaways be?
Become financially literate.
Mhm.
All it takes is a little time to just listen and to learn a few things that you don't know. Um, and when you learn, don't just take in information, but then you have to act on it,
Mhm.
because information without action is just that. It's just
Yeah.
um, and thirdly, um, we have to learn so we can teach our kids, because our parents may not have known, so they couldn't teach us. But so now it's time for us to change the direction of our financial future and create legacies. So we have to start early with our children and having good practices.
Okay. Great. Those are three great points. So if someone wanted to attend one of your workshops, how would they do that?
So I have a Facebook page. It's just my
Mhm.
Sabrina Noble. Um, and my Instagram is trickier. I think it's the first three letters of my name. Um, it was
Okay, because I tried to look you up on Instagram, I couldn't find you.
like how did I get this name? It's like Sobrino. So like
Uh,
SRINO. or something like that. One, but I'll send it to you, and
Mhm.
you can share that. And but to just they can inbox me on my Facebook, and I
We
will,
can go to your website.
yes, to
Okay. So the
that.
website is worldfinancialgroup.com, worldfinancialgroup.com, or you can email her at Sabrina Noble, WFG@gmail.com, Sabrina Noble, WFG@gmail.com.
Yes, that's
All right. Well, this was great. Thank you for joining us for Morning Tea this morning and giving us some insight into who Sabrina Noble is, how you became this law enforcement superhero, as far as I'm concerned. And oh, where did Sabrina go? Oh, okay, you went away for a little bit. This law enforcement superhero. Thank you for serving both in the military and as a law enforcement officer in Houston for 25 years. That's a long time to be in that profession. So good job. And again, thank you for joining us for Morning Tea. And for everyone that's listening, financial literacy is important. Not just literacy, like Sabrina said, acting on the information that you get. So if this COVID-19 and everything that's going on hasn't taught us anything, it should teach us that we need to get our affairs in order in all facets of our lives. And the first thing that we need to start with is getting our finances in place, because when you have your finances in place, it tends to empower you a little bit more to act differently, move differently, and be able to enact change in a better way. So get in contact with Sabrina, again, worldfinancialgroup.com, and or Sabrina Noble, WFG@gmail.com. Again, Sabrina, thank you for being a guest on Morning Tea. And guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of Morning Tea. Bye-bye.